Hi, I'm Joyce,
And I'm Adriel.
and we are Divinely Guided. We hope you've had a great week. We have had a pretty good week, or at least I have. How about yourself?
All right.
Yes. Did you enjoy your skating? I know you and your sister Jordan got a chance to skate this weekend.
Yeah, it was pretty fun.
Mm-hmm. All right, but we will not take very long today. Adriel is not feeling her absolute best, so we're going to let her go get some sleep. But we said last week we were going to be intentional about being here this week, so we wanted to follow through on that. And of course, we were talking about being intentional, being deliberate. And the last two times we've talked about time and being intentional with your time and ways to be more intentional with your time. And this week, as I mentioned last week, I wanted to talk a little while about being intentional with your legacy. I mentioned that I have over the past month, I've lost about 5 people in my life. And it made me think about, made me, of course, remember them and all that they have meant to me and all that I remember about them. And I was reminded that each day that we live, we are creating our own legacy. And so, with the concept of intentionality and being intentional at the forefront, we just want to talk for a few minutes tonight about being intentional about the legacy that you leave behind. Because every day you are building that legacy by the things that you do or don't do, the things that you say or don't say, the lives that you impact, the things that you build along the way. And again, as it is with so many things that we've talked about, by default, we just create. We're not very deliberate sometimes in the legacy that we leave behind. So, Adriel, you're very young, relatively speaking. Fully adult, but still relatively young. Have you ever considered what you would want people to think of when they think of you?
I just would like to be of service to people to help make things better.
Right. And I feel like you do that in the line of work that you're in right now.
Yeah.
You said it like you weren't convinced.
Well, because I don't know. I feel like too young to speak on that because I'm not currently in alignment with like where I'm supposed to be in life.
Right.
I'm just kind of somewhere
Uh-huh.
by default.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not. I
Right.
don't have a whole lot to say.
I know this isn't the job that you have now is not your life. It's not where you want to be for life. But I do think until you get to that place, and I think it is important to consider daily what it is you want to do, because this is the ideal time for you to create that life you want and start building that legacy. But in the meantime, you are very much helping people with the work that you do right now.
Yeah.
You're literally helping people get fed every day. And that is work and is very meaningful when you think about the elderly people that you encounter and the children.
Yeah.
Who, our elderly and our children. I always feel like we have a responsibility and an obligation to help them as much as we can. So I think that is very important. But long term, have you ever thought about where you would see yourself in 5 years?
I mean, I think about the future all the time.
Uh-huh. What does it look like for you?
I don't like to do that because it gives me existential crisis.
Okay. But don't have a crisis, but you yeah, we have to be deliberate about creating.
Well, I know. I would like to. I have goals.
Mm-hmm.
I want to move out, and I want a job that I feel like I chose, and a life that I feel like I'm building that wasn't given to me.
Right.
That's what I would like.
Yeah, but you have to be more specific about what those things are.
Yes,
and you
that's
may
the
very
problem.
well. What's that?
That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Trying to figure it out
as a 26-year-old.
Okay. And it is. Some people know from day one who and what they want to be, but many of us have to figure it out along the way.
Yep.
Yeah, because I realized a long time ago that part of my purpose, and probably the main part of my purpose for being here, was to make a positive difference in people's lives, to help them have a better quality of life. And then through my job and my volunteering, I found areas where I could focus in on helping people have a better quality of life.
So I don't know, controversial opinion. I don't feel like anybody's purpose is outside of the collective.
Uh-huh.
But that's just me.
Okay, so dig deeper. What do you mean when you say you don't feel like anybody's purpose is outside of the collective?
I don't feel like anybody's purpose is not to make the world a better place some kind of way. I don't think it goes outside of that. So whatever you do is somehow making the world a better place if it's really your purpose, but that's just my thoughts.
Okay.
So we all have different reasons for being here, but we really have the same one.
Okay. And I can buy that to a degree. I think we definitely are, should be helping make the world a better place. Each of us.
It just doesn't always look the same.
It doesn't always look the same,
Like
no.
if you're like a writer, you could like change the world with your words. Or if you're like a philanthropist, you can change the world in that way, but it's in different shapes. But everybody, I think, is put here to be loving and love and exemplify that in what they do.
Okay. And I like that. I like the way you put that. Yes. Do you feel like you're being loving in the way that you live each day? Have you considered that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, not every single day, but I try to make sure that I'm serving somebody in some capacity as often as possible.
Right.
So,
yeah. But that's important, and none of us are perfect. And there are some days when we are more helpful, more loving, making more of a difference than other days. And some days you just, if you're completely honest, you feel like you need to be loved on.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're in that space, and that's okay. Because, when you're in that place, then you should be surrounded by people and things that make you feel loved. And hopefully we have people and things in our lives that can help when we feel that way. Comes back to some of the things we've talked about in self-care. Sometimes you have to stop and pamper yourself. But as I was saying, I came to that realization that my purpose was to help improve quality of life with people. And so I felt like I was able to do that with education. Because I worked with, and I've mentioned it before, I taught part-time at night at a junior college. And my students were students who were non-traditional students. And the students that I actually taught were people who, quite frankly, the world had told in one way or another that they could not do it, that they could not be successful in college. And so I poured a lot of myself into trying to help them realize that they could do it. And then I challenged them along the way, and I helped them along the way, and I tried to break it down in a way that they could understand what we were talking about. Because, of course, I taught English, I taught composition, and so many people struggle to write, but I would always try to break it down. And I had a number of different students tell me I've never had anyone explain it to me that quite the way that I did. But for me, whenever I had a student who was struggling, I always took it as a personal challenge. How can I do this in a way that they're going to understand? And so at one point we started doing it through songs. We would come in and they would have one of their favorite songs, and it's like, why? And we looked at the words and we talked about how the words were a composition or a poem. And, we went through, we on a regular basis talked about composing, and I tried to get them to understand or to think of writing as just a means of communicating. So if we would start our days with something as simple as, how was your day? what was good about it, what was not good, so they could come up with an overall message. I had a great day. What made it a great day? What happened? What were you doing? And so we, would go through and compose. I had a great day, this and this and this and that. And, we talk through. And by going through and bringing out the points of what created that great day, then they compose a paragraph without even realizing this is a paragraph. But we did it repeatedly to the point that when they left that class, they knew very well how to compose those paragraphs and connect those paragraphs into essays. But for me, it was a very deliberate action. Whenever they performed poorly or they did poorly on papers, we would go through and I would, sometimes come home at night and think, okay, what can I do differently to capture their attention? How can I help them to understand? And so I had many students who were highly successful, and it became very common for the academic advisors to put a student in my class who was struggling because they knew I was going to put in that extra effort to help them understand. Because for me, education is so important for so many of those students because it was a key way that they could get to a better station in life. And so for me, I was helping them in that way. And then the same thing with my volunteer work, whether I was giving out food. And of course, when I was at Auburn University, developing the Auburn Serves Network so that Auburn students could help people while they learned what we were talking about in the books. They got a chance to do it out in real life situations. So I felt like everything I did was working toward that goal of helping people have a better quality of life. But I think we have to be very intentional about the life that we are creating, because our life is a gift. Every day that we have is a gift. It's another opportunity to get it right. It's another opportunity to make the changes. If you don't like the way you're going, it's another opportunity for you to turn around, to do something different, because as long as you're living, you can still change and continually change and alter that path that you're on until you get to that place that really serves you and your fellow man. And you'll know it when you feel it, because it's like, this is me, this is right. And when you get to that place, you cannot help but leave a very positive legacy when you're done. So I think intentional being the key word again. Be intentional about the legacy you want to leave. Be intentional about those activities. Are your activities that you're doing, are they leading you to that legacy that you would want to leave behind? Is something that you're doing today, is that something that would move you closer to the legacy that you would like to leave behind? If not, is it worth your time to do it? So back to us assessing, like we said once before, assessing what's going on in your life and then making deliberate changes and choices until you get to that place that you want to be in. Legacy can be something you're known for. Legacy can be a business that you leave behind. Legacy might be a memoir that you write that helps other people, that serves as a guideline for other people. Legacy might be the volunteer work that you did that impacted someone else. So there are a lot of different things legacy might be, but just consider what it is that you want and then start working toward creating the legacy, the memory that you have, that you want when it's all said and done. I know you said this is not the best topic for you.
No.
Why? You think you're too young to have legacy?
I am not in the position to have legacy. I don't know what other people my age have done or are doing, but me.
Mm-hmm. You don't think you're creating a legacy every day?
I mean, we all are, but I don't feel like I know enough to speak on that topic, really.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. And that says a whole lot right there, though, because I think there are a lot of people who, if they are honest with themselves, and it's not even necessarily a reflection of age, but there are a lot of people who haven't been very deliberate, intentional about the legacy that they leave behind. And so they might feel that same way and be twice your age.
Yeah, and like I'm working towards becoming the person that I would like to be,
Mm-hmm.
and living the life that I would like to live,
Mm-hmm.
and leaving behind what I would like to leave behind. But that's a process.
It is a process.
So
It is a process. But I think you've done
We're
so
trying.
much towards working to become more of the person you want to be, rather than who me or your dad created. You're creating your own
yeah,
personality, your own choices. And that's an important part of legacy too. Is being able to make your choices, live your life with a degree of honesty that you can be satisfied that you were true to yourself when
Yeah.
it's all said and done.
yeah.
Because I think that's very important. But anyway, so what is your legacy that you're trying to create? Have you honestly thought about what people think when your name comes up in a room? Do they think that you are a beautiful soul? Do they think you're very giving?
Side note: somebody, it was a random lady. She told me this is the greatest compliment I have ever gotten. Side note, and she told me that I had a sweet spirit.
Mm-hmm.
Just one time. That was the greatest compliment I've ever received.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. You just said that, it reminded me of that. So
Well, that's good though, because you don't want people to think of you and think that's a nasty little something.
no,
And that's some people's legacy, because that's what they put out into the world so often. That honestly, some people, you think when you hear their name, whether it comes out of your mouth or not, it runs through your mind. That's a nasty person, because that's what they've built. You build that legacy every day. When you said the best compliment you ever received, I think one of the best compliments I've ever received came from one of my students at University. Do you know which one?
I'm not gonna say anything.
Okay. But it came from one of my students, and he was the president of one of the student organizations that I helped found, and I advised them until I graduated. But so that group, there was a hard working group, and this one particular set of officers were very, very passionate. I had multiple sets, I'll say that, but just one particular group. They were very, very passionate. They were very involved. They were, they helped grow the organization tremendously. We went from feeding doing a few thousand plates every month to doing 20,000 meals annually. So they did a whole lot, and it continues to grow now, but it's on the backs of some of those students. And this one student, they would call me often. They always wanted me to come and speak to the incoming students, because they were like, you always inspire us and motivate us. And after you come and talk to us, we feel like we can just run through a brick wall. But and at one point, they nominated me for Advisor of the Year, and I actually won. But one of the things that one of the students said that was the best compliment for me was he had made the statement that Miss Joyce has been a great advisor. She has helped me to become a better leader, but more importantly, she's helped me to become a better person. And I thought, life is good when a young student will say and put it in writing, she's helped me to become a better person. I think I've achieved a very important milestone in my life. And so I like to feel like there are a number of different students along the way who would say that I helped them to become a better person along the way. At least I would hope that would be a part of my legacy. So, what about you? I want you to think about it. What is the legacy that you are creating every day with the life you live? What is it people say when you can't hear them? What is it they will remember when it's all been said and done? Think about it. You have the opportunity every day to create the legacy you want. So when it's all said and done, nobody has to get up at a funeral and tell a bunch of lies. They can just say the truth because you've lived well. Okay? So think about it. You're creating that legacy every day. Make sure it's a good one. Make sure it's the one that you actually want. All right. Did you have anything else you want to add? I know you need to get to bed. So, nothing else you want to add? Well, very good. Well, think about that legacy. And as you're thinking about that legacy and taking care of everybody else, make sure that you take some time to take care of yourself because you deserve it. Oh, I said your line, didn't I? Yes, you deserve it. You absolutely do. Good night.